is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation, coming at you from the Flying J in Temple, Georgia. It's like 2:45 p.m. out here, and it is getting packed out here already. So glad I got here yesterday when I did. I'm sure most of these people are going to be delivering in Atlanta area sometime tomorrow. But I had a few questions that were sent to me by email the other day, and I wanted to answer those questions, and I really didn't want to look at them again until I made the video, so it's kind of freestyling, you know what I'm saying? And then I kind of got a bonus answer at the end that's kind of more of a reply to a comment that was added on one of my videos. So let's go. Let me read this word for word. From your experience, can you speak to load securement with drop-in hooks? If you pick up a load that is already sealed, how concerned are you that the load has been properly secured? My answer to that is I'm not concerned about it at all. If the load is sealed up and all that kind of stuff, I'm not trying to break a seal and hop back there and throw any load locks in or anything like that. I prefer it not to be sealed with the permanent seal. Like sometimes you'll go to, like, I think it's the National Beef in Liberal, Kansas, where you go there, they have a temporary seal on it where you can kind of break that and then you can throw load locks in, that kind of stuff. Another advantage would be that you can see how it's loaded to the front or to the back, so it gives you kind of an idea where you probably want to put your tandems. But I don't really overly concern myself with it, because most of the loads that are going to be pre-sealed like that aren't going to be like your more delicate loads, like a produce load. Those tend to be light boxes, stuff like that. So I'm not concerned about it at all. But it's not, I'd rather be able to at least look in there and see kind of how it's loaded, like Liberal, Kansas. And then it goes on, is it true that once the load is sealed, you won't be able to see how it's been secured because breaking the seal requires time and effort and someone willing to do that? I'm not trying to waste all that time. Once I get that load, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to go through any more additional steps. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, most of those loads you're not going to have an issue with that are preloaded and sealed and all that kind of stuff. Then it goes on, will moving your tandems impact this since they could shift the weight of the cargo? Now, I'm assuming what that was meaning was by sliding my tandems, could the weight shift and kind of fall one direction or another? And I'm sure that probably could happen, but you know, if I'm sliding tandems, I'm not trying to slide them and then just bang them to the back or bang them to the front, you know, trying to be a little bit delicate on that, you know what I'm saying? So that would help that, or help decrease the odds of something like that happening, is just having a little bit of control when you're sliding your tandems. So those are the answers to those. And then a few other questions that were added were, what is the most challenging thing about trucking? Man, I might have a bonus answer to this one too. The most challenging thing about trucking is not the trucking, you know what I'm saying? Now, we are coming to that time of the year where the challenges are going to increase a little bit. So, you know, there are challenges in dealing with bad weather and things like that. But trucking as a whole, most of the challenges are outside of that. Time away from family, hobbies. You know, I used to be really into barbecue, had a barbecue and cooking channel, No Hippie Barbecue and Cooking. That channel was doing very well, and then I got into this industry, and now it's basically a ghost channel. So I can't do some of the things I like, be around the people that I want to be around because of trucking. Those are the biggest challenges in trucking. Now, the bonus answer to this is, one of the hardest things about being in trucking is there's a lot of entitled truck drivers out here. Truck drivers try to act like they aren't entitled, but as soon as you say, if it wasn't for truck drivers, the world wouldn't move, that's kind of entitled, you know what I'm saying? This whole economy is like an ecosystem, you know what I'm saying? We are part of that ecosystem. You know, everybody has their job. The person that's making hamburgers at Wendy's, that a lot of truck drivers like to talk down on, when the skill set is generally about the same, you know what I'm saying? You know, they have their role to play. You know, the people that are picking produce, even criminals. Shit, if you didn't have criminals, you wouldn't have cops, you wouldn't have jails. That's a whole ecosystem in itself. So everybody plays their role. You know what I'm saying? That is very challenging when I have to hear entitled truck drivers try to make it out to be more than it is. So that's a little bonus answer right there. What surprises you most about the trucking industry? Well, the thing that surprised me most was how easy it is. Now, that doesn't mean that no mistakes are made or anything like that. I've made my fair share of mistakes, but making a mistake doesn't mean that it's a hard job. That's like saying, when I worked at Burger King when I was, 17 years old, that was an easy job too, but I made a mistake in not having like something to catch the hot grease coming out of the fryer, and I accidentally dumped that shit on my leg and foot, and that was a mistake. Didn't make the job hard just because I made a mistake, but just the ease that how easy the trucking industry was very surprising getting into it. Also, what a job like this can provide for people that came up that may not have been able to live the lifestyle that they lead now. That's another thing that would have surprised me. I didn't know that, you could pull somebody out of the projects in Chicago or out of the hollers of West Virginia, people that, may have come from nothing and be able to scale up pretty quickly. So that's one of the good things about the trucking industry, and it's one of the things that surprised me when I got out here. Let's see. Last question before my bonus is, in order to know that a truck driver is successful at their job, what does that look like? You know what? That's going to be a very personal answer. You know what I'm saying? Success in trucking could come in a bunch of different forms. Somebody could find themselves being successful, and they might be making $50,000 a year, and that might be their barometer for success. Somebody could be, saying, thinking, oh, dang, Lyle's successful. He's got all this in emergency funds, and he's got 2 trucks, 1 more on the way. But there's somebody that has, 12 trucks, 50 trucks, 100 trucks that would not find what I'm doing successful, or it wouldn't be successful for them. One thing I'm trying to really tell people is success in trucking should be outside of the money. You're not going to get, some people are going to be able to get rich in trucking, but if you think about it, you become wealthy because of what you do with your money, not the income that you make. If you made $200,000 a year, it's going to take 5 years just to make, hold on, let me do the math. Yeah, it's going to be 5 years before you have $1 million net. You know what I'm saying? And that's if you didn't pay any taxes, didn't spend any money on anything or anything like that. You could become wealthy by what you do with the money that you bring in. That's why I'm always preaching. Don't buy shit that goes down in value. Buy stuff that's going to go up in value. In 5 years, you can go from 0 to having over, or $1 million net worth or whatever, if you make the right moves, investment wise, savings wise. Don't put yourself in a bad position and buying stuff that's going to go down in value. To me, that's what success looks like. I don't want to come out of this industry with not having maximized what I could do in terms of building wealth when I get out of this industry. It would be a failure for me to leave this industry with a nice car, and just a bunch of random shit. You know what I'm saying? So you can do that and not make the most amount of money and be successful. I know that's kind of a roundabout thing. Kind of jumping off topic real quick. Some of the people that I dealt with that had the highest net worth and stuff like that weren't the people that made the most money. It was the people that, when I was in the mortgage industry, you'd look at somebody's application, they make maybe $80,000, $90,000 between 2 people, whatever like that. and they have more net worth than somebody that makes, double that, because they're not wasting money on depreciating assets. They're saving money. They're maximizing 401ks. They're doing stuff like that to put them in that position. So it's not how much money you make, it's what you do with the money. All right, so bonus question or bonus answer wasn't really, it's more of a reply than it is an answer to a question, but a comment that was left on one of my videos was basically saying how the trucking industry is all messed up now that Biden's in office, and if Trump was in office, then things would be good and stuff like that. So my reply to this is that regardless of who is in office, they get no credit or no blame for my success or my failure. Now, Trump is not in office, so what am I supposed to do if that is the theory? Or what are you gonna do if you left that comment? Wait for 3 years before you start grinding? Or you're gonna see what it does is it gives people a convenient way to blame any failures they have on some shit. I'm not about that life. I'm about taking full accountability. When I failed, I wasn't talking about who was in office and I failed because of this or I failed because of that. The grind is going to be the grind, you know what I'm saying? And trust me, you're never going to hear me say, man, I feel weak even just talking about this topic. I can just feel the weakness oozing out. But you're never going to hear me saying the things, I'm doing well because of who's in office. It's just a fucking weak mindset to have. And I got to get off that topic because I'm just feeling weak right now, even discussing that I could even imagine having that mindset. But anyway, enough about that. I'm having a situation with my truck. I was thinking about rolling into Springfield, stuff like that, after I drop this load off. But probably the last 3 drive shifts, this truck is having a situation where if I'm going forward or I'm going reverse, it's like wanting to lunge, you know what I'm saying? And it's making it a little bit tricky to back into places where I need to kind of finesse it, you know what I'm saying? And so I need to get that looked at when I'm at home. Like I said, I'm gonna be going home, and they're taking away the Denver yard. So a little pro tip for some of you people that live where you might have a truck manufacturer where you live at, is I'm always putting my truck in the shop at least every other time I go home. I'm not doing no 80,000 mile oil changes and all that goofy shit. At a minimum, I'm gonna get the oil changed every couple times I come in, and there's usually other stuff that I might just throw on top of that. But until they have a Denver yard, every time I go home, I'm gonna throw it in that Peterbilt out in Denver. You gotta call them to ask them to come pick up the stuff. So it's just a cheap way, if I don't have a Denver yard, for me to kind of store it for a while, get a little bit of work done on the truck, and be done. And since most people aren't taking 2-3 weeks off, it's even easier. So I'm gonna try to be home about minimum 2 weeks when I go back, and I'll just throw it in there, have them take a look at that, and there's some manufacturer recall type stuff that I can throw in there as well. But might get all the airlines replaced, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, enough about that. I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Trucking Transportation. As always, comment, subscribe, and you know what? Keep grinding. Don't be blaming where you're at in life on who's in office. That's weak shit right there. I'm out.